Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube NFL prediction segment, I'm going to be giving you my predictions and analysis for Week 2 of the 2020 NFL season. And the first game, I'm going to take the Cleveland Browns at home over the Cincinnati Bengals. The Cleveland Browns looked basically like an expansion team last week. I understand they played the Baltimore Ravens and that ravenous defense right now, or what have you, only giving up 6 points. But the thing is, they obviously, they may have to play better to even beat Cincinnati. I think they would redeem themselves. They've won 3 of the last 4 against Cincy. I think it's safe to say that Cleveland has been overhyped since like the beginning of last season, and you look at Cincinnati, they got their new quarterback Burrow, and it didn't look. Cincinnati did not really look stellar last week, but they were okay actually. But Cincinnati is still the Bengals, and they're 0-8 on the road in 2019, and 2-15 in their last 17 games overall. They've actually lost 13 consecutive games on the road. They've just been an abysmal, abhorrent road team. So I'm going to take Cleveland in this one. Now, the next game, I'm going to take the Chicago Bears at home to defeat the New York Giants. And speaking of expansion teams, the Giants did look very woeful last week against the Pittsburgh Steelers. They got that conciliatory touchdown at the end of the game. They were held to like 10 points or so through the majority of the game. And you look at the Bears, and really the jury, I think, is still out on this team. They had a very good win last week. Thought it was interesting. They have Khalil Mack, and I think when you look at that defensive front against the Giants' offensive line, I think that's going to be a very big difference in this game. And I do like Chicago to get this one done at home. The offensive line for the Giants looked anemic last week, and Barkley, the running back, did not really have a stellar game. He had some rushes, I believe, for negative yardage. So I'm going to take Chicago in this one at home. Now, the next game, I'm going to take the Dallas Cowboys at home to defeat the Atlanta Falcons. Dallas has had in 2019 they only had 7 to they're talking about looking at this team now, like 7 defensive interceptions, I believe, and you look at the Cowboys though. I think what this is going to come down to, I like their rushing offense will probably will be enough to win this game for them. You look at Atlanta last week; they had a meager performance. You look at them last week now, but I think in this particular game, both these teams are going to be playing better in this one. Dallas, they lost to, I would say, when you look at the Falcons, they played a game. They only scored like 18 points, and they have, I still believe, a very good offense. So in this particular game, they will be playing better, but I think Dallas, being at home, they have some pressure with their new coach, who's supposed to revive and rejuvenate this team. I don't see them starting out 2-0, so I'm going to take the Cowboys to win at home. Now, the next game, I want to take the Green Bay Packers to win at home against the Detroit Lions. Green Bay, some people have them going to the Super Bowl this season, definitely have Super Bowl aspirations. Detroit right now, they may actually be in some reclamation mode at this point. And you look at them, you look at the Green Bay Packers, they definitely have, they post a very good offense. Aaron Rodgers had, I think, 4 touchdown passes last week. You look at Green Bay as well. They put up a lot of points on the board last week. I understand it was just one game, but they look like they're ready to continue being a perennial contender for the Super Bowl title. Detroit secondary is a little suspect, losing Darius Clay, and but they had and they lost the last 2 to Green Bay. And I think being in Green Bay, I do like them to win this game over the Packers. And Detroit has not been a great road team. They were 1-6-1 on the road last season, so I'm going to take the Packers to win this one at home. Now, the next game, I'm going to take the Tennessee Titans to win at home over the Jacksonville Jaguars. I too believe very adamantly that Tennessee does have to play a little bit better this week if they're going to beat Jacksonville. Now, Jacksonville is not exactly world beater, but they did play very well last week. But Tennessee has dominated this series in recent time. They've won 5 of the last 6 games against the Jaguars. They have Jadeveon Clowney, defensive end, and they look at this team. They brought in Gostkowski, their kicker. They're going to be Tennessee may contend for the AFC title this season. Jacksonville again. Tennessee has had their number. They had Jacksonville at 91 rushing yards in their week 1, which is not terrible, but there are again without the services of Leonard Fournette because he's not with the team anymore. But they've lost 6 consecutive games at Tennessee and 5 of the last 6 overall to the Titans. I like the Titans at home in this one. Now, the next game, I'm going to take the Minnesota Vikings on the road to defeat the Indianapolis Colts. The Minnesota Vikings, interesting, they're number 10 in total offense. Indy's number 3 in total offense, but in Minnesota put up more points than Indy last week. They put up 35 points, and the Minnesota Vikings and Indy, they put up like 17. The Indianapolis Colts, they put up 20 points against the Jaguars, and I mean they had that much trouble getting a 20 against the Jaguars. Now Minnesota, it's going to be another story. I mean, it's just hard for me to see Minnesota starting out 0-2 this season. They still have a very good offense with Kirk Cousins and Adam Thielen. They could get this done. I believe I don't really see them losing their first 2 games of the season. So I'm going to take the Vikings to win this one, and it should be a competitive game on the road. Now, the next game, I'm going to take the Buffalo Bills to win on the road against the Miami Dolphins. Buffalo, I mean, it really doesn't require a lot of analysis this game. Buffalo is just simply a much better team, I believe. Quarterback Josh Allen, he had a career day against the New York Jets. Last week, he threw for 312 yards, even rushed for like 44. Stephon Diggs had 86 yards receiving, and Buffalo looks to replicate what Miami did to the Dolphins the previous week. Miami has lost 5 of the last 6 games to the Buffalo Bills. They gave up 217 yards rushing last week. I think Buffalo's going to really be pounding this ball at the as far as the run defense of Miami. Buffalo has dominated this series in recent time, and Miami is like in reclamation mode, I think, right now. But it's hard for me to envision Miami getting a win against the Bills, so I'm going to take the Bills to win this one on the road. Now, the next game, I'm going to take the San Francisco 49ers to win on the road against the New York Jets. San Francisco, came out and just did not really play. Obviously didn't play their best game last week with Arizona shocking them at San Francisco. They allowed 180 rushing yards last week. I don't see that happening again against the New York Jets. And trying to envision, Jimmy G starting out 0-2 season, I just don't think it's going to happen. Last time I checked, Jimmy Garoppolo has not had many times when he started at quarterback and lost 2 consecutive games. The Jets, no Le'Veon Bell likely. And the Jets they looked abhorrent last week. They allowed 404 yards total. On their defense gave up 404 yards to the Bills offense. And for me, they are just a team right now. I mean, they looked good at the end of last season, but it seems like we're seeing the Jets the way they started out last season. I hope this is not going to mirror the beginning of last season, but I have a bad feeling it may for the Jets. When they lost one of their safeties, maybe this might be spelling doom for them. I hope they can bounce back. I think they're going to play a little bit better than they did the previous week. They are going to be at home in San Francisco. Maybe they're having this Super Bowl loss hangover, figuratively speaking, and that gives the Jets a little bit of hope, but a glimmer of hope and not much more than that. So I'm going to take the 49ers to win on the road. Now, the next game, I'm going to take the Philadelphia Eagles at home to defeat the Los Angeles Rams. Philadelphia, they still, despite their loss to the Washington football team last week, They still have division title aspirations. They may win it by default because that NFC East just does not seem to be that really that good to me. You're looking at Philadelphia Eagles. Maybe that was an aberration last week. They certainly underachieved the previous week. They did acquire Darius Slay. Their defense is probably going to be better this season. And you look at the Rams. The Rams might actually be better than a lot of people anticipated. They defeated the Cowboys after being subjugated by them the previous season, and the Rams really might be one of the more improved football teams this season, even without Todd Gurley. I mean, they did amass 153 rushing yards without Todd Gurley with their new running game, and they might actually be better this season. But I think Philadelphia understands they have to win. They really, I mean, it's only the second week, but you don't want to start out 0-2 really in a division, even though it's not the best division. The Cowboys are likely going to win next week against Atlanta. So, and they don't want to get too behind too quick. So I think for me, I'm going to take the Eagles. They were sacked 8 times last week. I think that's not going to happen 2 weeks in a row, and I think they will be able to contain the defensive front of the Rams, and they're going to and they will find a way to win this game. So I like the Eagles at home. Hold on a moment, people. Now, the next game, I'm going to take the Pittsburgh Steelers at home to win over the Denver Broncos. Now, the Steelers, they played a very good game last week. It was against the Giants, but they did amass 349 total yards. They were 5-3 at home last season, and that was with a team that was really very mediocre overall, and they didn't have the services of Roethlisberger for at least most of the season. And you look at the Denver Broncos, and they're going to be without Von Miller. Denver was 2-6 on the road in 2019. They only put up 14 points at home against the Titans last week. I mean, it's only one game. I like what Pittsburgh has done compared to Denver so far. I think they have more proponents on that team that are better than the Broncos, and they're just collectively, they are the better team, I believe, are at home. So I'm going to take the Steelers to win at home. Now, the next game I'm going to talk about the Tampa Bay. I'm going to take Tampa Bay at home over the Carolina Panthers. And when I look at Tampa Bay last week, okay, I understand there was a lot of hype being made with them with Tom Brady, and they have Mike Evans and Gronkowski in the receiving corps, but they lost to New Orleans last week, and to me, I mean, it's just one game. I think they're going to, they're going to make progress as the season does progress. You're going to see gradual progression in this team. I do like them to win this game. Tampa Bay, I think, had 3 turnovers last week. I think they're going to cut that down big time in this game. And Carolina, despite being revamped and losing a lot of pieces on their team, they actually played a very good game against the Las Vegas Raiders last week. But I just don't think they have enough in them to defeat Tampa Bay. I think Tampa Bay being at home, they're going to feel like we got to redeem ourselves. We lost a game last week that could have conceivably been won. So Tampa Bay will win this game, I believe, over Carolina. So anyway. Now, the next game, I'm going to take the Arizona Cardinals to win at home over the Washington football team. Arizona, I mean, they came out, had a stellar game against the 49ers. Very impressive win that they got on the road, and they put up like 180 rushing yards against the 49ers. And Arizona playing, I understand the Washington football team, they have some swagger going in. They defeated Philadelphia last week. They're actually in first place very early in the season in the NFC East, sole possession of first place. Kudos to them for right now. But this is a team that was 2-6 on the road in 2019. There are right now the number 18 pass defense, or at least in 2019. Sorry, 2019 number 18 pass defense. It may improve this season. But when I look at this look at this game. Arizona is kind of on the rise. I think they're ascending as a football team, and I think the jury is still out on Washington. We really don't know what to expect from them. We're going to find out a little more about them this week. If they go into Arizona, they pull up this upset, and even though it's early in the season, people could be looking at Washington. Well, in the NFCs, maybe they would have a chance to actually win the division, but I like Arizona in this one. Um, and also, DeAndre Hopkins is definitely going to be making that offense better. So I'm taking Arizona at home. Now, the next game. I want to take the Kansas City Chiefs to win on the road against Los Angeles Chargers. Kansas City, I mean, they flat out have dominated the Chargers in recent time. Kansas City was 7-1 on the road last season. I mean, they have won. As far as their games go, that again, the Chargers, I mean, uh, Kansas City just has Los Angeles Chargers number, and you look at this team, the Chargers, they are a team we don't really know what's really going on with them. We understand Kansas City's a perennial contender for the title. Patrick Mahomes and Kelsey, they just have a team where there's like virtually no weaknesses on it. And the Chargers, I don't know if they could put up enough points to actually beat Kansas City. I just don't think they have enough in the offensive tank to do it. So I'm going to take Kansas City to win this one on the road. Now, the next game. I want to take the Baltimore Ravens and that ravenous defense to win on the road against Houston. They right now, I mean, I think they have the number one scoring defense, even though it's early. They added defensive end Calais Campbell to the squad. Houston right now, they really did not look very good. They looked very flat against the Kansas City Chiefs last week. I understand it was against the defending Super Bowl champions, but when you look at Houston losing to Andre Hopkins, they may not even be as good as they were last season. Baltimore might actually threaten to be better if that's possible. I know they were 14-2 in the regular season last year. I don't think Baltimore can exceed or surpass that this season as far as the regular season, but they still have the ability. They have the team, the proponents overall, as far as their quality as a team, to be at least what they were last season, and Houston might be on the decline. So I'm going to take Baltimore to win this one on the road. Now, the next game. Well, this should be a very good game, but I'm going to take Seattle at home to defeat the New England Patriots. Seattle right now, they're a team. They were a very formidable home team, 7-1 at home in 2019. They have played the Patriots well in recent time, taken 2 out of the last 3, I believe, against the New England Patriots. And Patriots right now, yes, they did win that game. Again, it was against the Miami Dolphins. It was a home game. But it's going to be a little different going on the road against Seattle. I understand Patriots still have a very good team. I believe they kept the nucleus of that defense, the very dominant defense they had in 2019 together. New England will threaten for that AFC East title, but trying to beat Seattle at home, and it's a very versatile quarterback with Russell Wilson. I think Russell Wilson will just make some plays with his legs near the end of the game, and will win this game late for Seattle. So I'm going to take the Seattle Seahawks to get this game done. And they looked very impressive last week in their win, and I think they looked a little bit better than the Patriots did. So I'm going to go with Seattle, and this one should be a close game, though. Now, last but not least, I'm going to take the New Orleans Saints to win on the road against the Las Vegas Raiders. We're going to find out a little bit about what we're talking about with the Las Vegas Raiders. Are they going to be ascending, or is this the team that's really on the rise? Are they going to be a team that can compete for the playoffs this season, or is this a team that's just kind of going to be mired in mediocrity for some time? And New Orleans is going to be without the services likely of wide receiver Michael Thomas, so that is going to make some difference. New Orleans was only sacked 28 times last season. I think this is going to come down a lot of this between the offensive line for New Orleans against the defensive rush of Las Vegas. Las Vegas pass rush may be somewhat improved, but I think what's going to happen is they're going to give the O-line for New Orleans is going to give them plenty of time and for Breeze to get these balls thrown, and I think that's going to likely be the difference in the game. So I'm going to take the New Orleans Saints to get this one done on the road. I think it actually could be a very competitive game. Las Vegas is going to be, really. I mean, I understand they're going to be amped up because they're in. It's really like it's a new team for them, because even though it's the Raiders, they're playing in Las Vegas. This is like really essentially a new team for them. They're going to feel, some kind of spark and be revived and rejuvenated, but it's not going to be enough. And I think in this particular game, the Saints are just going to have a little bit more offense than the Las Vegas Raiders in this matchup, and I do like them to beat Las Vegas and get this road win for them. But it should be a tight, competitive game. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube NFL prediction segment. Until next time, people, Edwin Learnard saying stay well.